They were frightened as children. You have to remember that it's all based on Red Riding Hood, you see. Nothing has changed since Red Riding Hood. So what they're frightened of today are exactly the same things they were frightened of yesterday.
Yeah.
Because this, should we call it, this fright complex is rooted in every individual.
Fright complex. There's something deep inside all of us that we're scared of. For some people, it might be dying. You know, I don't want to die either, but shit hit the fan. I guess I got to deal with it. Nothing I can do to stop it. Some motherfuckers are scared of flying. You know what I'm saying? When I get on a plane, I think, you know, I come to terms with if this shit go down, there ain't nothing I can do about it. Some motherfuckers are petrified by talking to women or to a woman talking to a man. You know what I mean? Putting your bid in. And you learn to overcome that by practice, right? By talking to as many people as possible. You know what I'm saying? Some people scared to chase this money. And you usually get over that. And that's where we at now, because I don't know how the hell these motherfuckers get over that. You know what I'm saying? A smart man, you know, it's something else that goes on in a person's mentality when you see other people make money. You know the way to make money. They could have laced you with the angle to make money, and your bitch ass don't make no money. You don't even try it. You know what I'm saying? And then the same cowards come up with an excuse, you know, well, some people were born this way. You know what I'm saying? And I'll get to it, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to save up enough money to do, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to save up enough money to get a Maserati, and then after that, I'm trying to wait till the weather turns 80 degrees, and the waves are coming off Santa Monica at a northeast of 5 knots and shit. You know what I'm saying? They're waiting for perfection. But all that comes down to one thing. It's something that I can never cure in you that's stopping you from doing it. You know what I'm saying? And I've completely given up trying. You know, when I talk about, you know, information, not inspiration, it's because I know the dudes who give you the inspiration, they don't give you any tools for you to do. They don't give you a step one. They don't give you, this is what you should look for. This is why you should look for it. This is what all the suckers will say to this game, which is pretty much in a $1.15 book. But I know that I had to do it another way because I wanted to give you enough that you almost feel guilty for not taking a chance. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want you to be, you know, to not ever conquer yourself. Like, I give you a good example that I tell my nephew about, you know, going in anything. I tell him all the time, you know, boldness is rewarded. You know, God rewards the willing. Any man who can overcome his fears is rewarded for that. Any man who walks up to a woman and doesn't let the woman he really wants to talk to pass him by is rewarded for that. He might not get the woman, but at least he knows that that was never going to happen. The rest of these people are walking around with regrets and what ifs and I should be's and I could have been and he's no better than me and she's not as beautiful as me and she has a job that I should have got. All of them are walking around with regret while the other people got over their fear. You know, the thing I tell my nephew, you know, in the long story of I'm always talking business and trying to make sure he's ready to roll. But, you know, I tell him a coward will never be king, right? But a king has to overcome his cowardice. You know what I'm saying? This is the road. The bold get there. You cannot get here without overcoming this fear. A lot of you guys have kids, or I have a nephew or a niece, or, you know what I'm saying? You've seen little kids, and you always see it on TV. They're like, you know, the little kid always calls to their mother and father and says, something's under my bed. Something's in my closet, right? And the father, the mother, and the sitcom go look through the thing. Nothing's here, nothing's here. And they look under the bed, and they tuck them in and say, you know, you have a good night. Now, that's a little kid. The little kid doesn't have the knowledge to understand that the wind blew or a shadow came against the wall, or, you know what I'm saying? But what about you as a grown man or a grown woman? Why can't you see the damn ghost and see that that ain't real shit? You know what I'm saying? You would think a person who's 30 or 40 or 20 realistically, you know, who's scared to take a chance, there's something wrong with them. You know what I'm saying? Especially my young cats who listen to me on the Rise and Grind right now. I understand after, like I tell you, 30 and over from that podcast a long time ago. I know when the coward shit kicks in on most cats. I know when they sit back and say, you know, maybe I'm just not that good. Maybe it's too late, Freeman. I'm too old. You know what I'm saying? I'm 31 and I can't get in the game. And I'm like, what the hell we gonna do? Be a bitch for the rest of our lives? I mean, you know what I'm saying? But when you see a grown man, grown woman having this problem, you're saying, what's wrong with you? You understand what I'm saying? Because you can see that it ain't real. You see, I put out the water hustle, right? Dollar water. I don't know, maybe a year or two ago. Now, I can explain to you real quick how that shit goes. So everybody get the tape recorders, get the pen and paper down. You dig what I'm saying? First thing you want to do is find you a left turn lane that has a lot of people, right? First, that's number one. Second, you want to count how many times the light turns from red to green. How much of a frequency does the light allow the left turners to turn, right? You need to keep track of this because you can decide how many cars you're going to meet by walking down the street. Let's say it's 40 seconds. So let's say the red light, it becomes green every 4 minutes, right? So that means 4 goes into 60, 15 times. That means it's going to be 15 times that you get to sell that water. If you know that you can sell 3 waters per light, right? That's 3 times 15, that's 45 waters. That means you're going to be selling a case and a half of water every hour, right? That means you can almost bank on the fact that you're going to be making about $40 an hour. Now, think about that. $40 an hour to what motherfuckers are making now, $10, $12 an hour. If you're in the right corner with the right frequency, with the right hustle, it's almost guaranteed. Now we throw in the whammy. What if it was a hot day? You might sell 10 bottles of water, right? That means 10, 15 times is $150. That means you will probably move what? About 5 cases an hour. So you would know how much money you need to bring and re-up with and how much water you need just by sitting there for a second and seeing the game. Now, I'll put that out there for everybody, right? I wasn't going to write a post on it, but the hell with it. Listen to the podcast. but the thing is, now, I gave that game to a lot of cats. A lot of these cats sitting there right now. A lot of you cats are unemployed. A lot of you cats, this is tax-free hustle, homie. Nobody coming to tax you and take your shit from you. You going to have stripper money, homie, for y'all who got them fetishes. Y'all going to be making it rain with dollar bills, homie, if you go out and do this thing, right? For every 36 pack you get, you're going to get a $33 profit because it's going to be a $3 to $4 for 32, 33. It's going to be about a $3 to $4 if you buying a product, so you're going to have $32. 32 if you sat out there from 11 to 3, right? 4 hours. And if you're making, what, $45, right? That means on average you should be, what, $90, $180 a day, all cash, right? Just from you putting some ice in the back of your damn car and driving to one corner and having enough water in there to keep it frozen and keep rotating in and out. Now, if I told you you're going to get $200 a day, $100 a day, you still don't want to do it, right? Because something in you is scared of something. I don't know what it is. Are you scared to be seen outside on the street? That you're the dude who you're smart now and you went to college, but you're scared to have other people say, man, I saw so-and-so's father out there. So, man, they must be doing bad. I'll give you a good example, even better example. When I got out of law school to start the company, right? Everybody thought I was doing bad. Freeman, why would you go take that job? You graduated from law school. You're doing this. And I'm saying, nah, homie. I make more money here. And they all thought I was a goddamn fool, homie. I never forget that day. Everybody's like, you're a goddamn fool, Freeman. You understand what I'm saying? And I had people telling me, man, you just scared to be a lawyer. I'm scared to be a motherfucking sucker, homie. That's what I'm scared of being. I'm scared of being pimped. I'm scared of being dicked. I'm scared of a whole bunch of shit. But I ain't scared of making money, homie. So I knew, I was on the right angle. And I know a lot of you cats, you're young and you're so scared of what other people may say. But let me give you something to help you with that. Just for this one fear in particular. You're letting yourself be judged by cowards, by the dudes who will never do. You're listening to the words of a woman who will never do it herself. You're listening to the words of someone who wishes they had the heart you had, right? You know what I'm saying? You're listening to the cowardly lion, homie. You know what I'm saying? Who has no heart, who needs to go to the wizard to get some heart. That's who you're listening to. That's how I imagine whoever comes against me and tells me some sucker shit. Freeman, you could have did this. I don't know why you're laughing. I don't know why you would try to set up shop and do this. And I'm not a coward, homie. So when I see something come up, I see terrain, I see the horizon, I see open land, I see an opportunity, I'm gonna go for it. While you may see the same shit and fall back. While you may say, you know what, I think it's better if I let everybody else know, because that's going to be a public service announcement. Public service announcement, we can go pimp the whole Northeast. I'm not going to pimp it, but for all you cats who are pimps, it's open to you. What kind of bitch shit is that? So I don't want to be that kind of cat, but when it comes to this Fright complex, a lot of you cats have this deep down. I don't know what it is. That's what I'm saying. See, I always tell people very bluntly, I have no choice. It was either I was going to be broke and getting shot at and all kind of crazy shit, or I was going to take my chance. It ain't really hard. I didn't have to overcome too much of a fear. You know what I'm saying? Let me give you something that's with business that people don't know. This is an exercise I go through with my nephew. As you could tell, hopefully my nephew doesn't end up to be a fuck up in life, because I've been lacing him for years. But the thing is, I said, what are you scared of opening a business for? He said, Uncle, they'll say, it's hard. It's a risk to open a business, right? It's a risk, right? People will lose their money and they got to get a mortgage. And I said, you don't need any of that. I didn't start with any of that. Your other uncle, we didn't start with none of that, right? He said, yeah. I said, why the hell would you believe the bitches when you got us standing right in front of you? I said, never believe what those motherfuckers say who never did it. Believe in the people who did it. We did it. We don't need their motherfucking money. We can save if we have to. So I said, let me give you an example of good exercise. I said, do you think you can make hamburgers? He works at a hamburger place, McDonald's. I said, yeah. I said, do you think you can copy the game from McDonald's and do it? He said, yeah. I said, what do you need? He said, maybe the same machines as them and the same game as them, right? I said, okay, now once you have that, do you think you won't be able to sell hamburgers? He said, well, people probably won't buy from me. I said, now how can they buy the hamburger from McDonald's and they won't buy the hamburger from you? What does McDonald's have that you don't have? Because it could be the same goddamn hamburger. Same meat, same fries, same Big Mac sauce, same soda, same everything. And he said, I don't know. And I said, what they have is not a coward behind the goddamn business. Because you're second guessing yourself and you're hoping shit happens. He opened up shop and he made shit happen. I said, the wild card in this whole game of making money is not the product. Because everyone eats a hamburger. You have to decide if you're going to be man enough or woman enough to get in there and see it through. Because the wild card is you. The wild card in this game is you. Not the product. You. Not the fact that motherfuckers move to New York and make it every day. I got the fuck up. I made it every day, right? I opened up a business and they say, 1 out of 2 businesses fail. Well, I wasn't one of them bitches. I didn't fail. Why? Because the wild card was me. I wasn't going to fail. The product worked. Motherfuckers was making money off of it. Fuck it. I'm going to get out there and push the same goddamn product. Right? So once you keep letting all this shit in your head, that all these outside circumstances are going to make you fail. Now, what the fear really drills down to is you getting to the point of you not believing in yourself. And no man or woman wants to admit that. None of us want to say that out loud. You know what I'm saying? I try to tell my nephew like I did for myself around the same age. I said, I just try to tell the truth. As much as it hurts me to say it, as much as it hurts me to admit that sometimes I'm scared. Sometimes I'm scared. I see a woman and shit, and motherfuckers are intimidating to me sometimes. I can't help it. Sometimes the finer they are, the more it seems like I got to doubt myself, and then I got to get back onto my thinking of saying, hey, you know what? If she's going to be with somebody, it might as well be with me. You know what I'm saying? So I come back and cut that sucker shit and that coward shit out my head immediately and proceed to, put my bid in and say what I got to say. Either she's going to accept it or not. It's always a 50-50 chance in this world. You know what I'm saying? But once you let all this fear in your game, you know what I'm saying? When you can't admit that sometimes you're scared of something, you got to identify what it is that holds you back. Because I can do 100 million podcasts and I might not ever come across the shit that fucks with you. The thing that stops you from producing. The thing that stops you from taking a chance. I might not ever come across that, man. I know everybody's listening saying, oh, Freeman, that one hit the spot. That was just right on time. And I'm always happy about that because I know, okay, whatever I was saying at that point was the solution for that cat. Right? That's why he wrote back and said, hey, thanks for saying it. I was just thinking about that. I was just worrying about that, right? That was me and God. You understand what I mean? Being able to deliver a message to you at the right time. But if you're sitting here saying, Freeman, I can't wait to podcast number 5,819 where you're talking about pinky toes. Homie, I might not ever get to the point where we're talking about pinky toes and why you can't hustle because your left pinky toe hurt. Go get that shit amputated, homie. Get some penicillin and I don't know. But we got to identify what is that gives us this fright complex. What are we scared of? What is it? And if you don't know yet, that's okay, because maybe you haven't really taken on this game to understand what part of the element. A lot of people are scared of failing, which is like I told you in the previous thing. The product's going to sell. Hamburgers sell, homie. It's not about the hamburgers. It's about you. You know what I'm saying? When me and my brother, right, we all start businesses, and we always think, you know, as we get, you know, used to doing it, I always say, you know, it's not, I'm more worried or I'm more fearful that, you know, when you open up a business, I might not be able to adjust fast enough. When you open up a business, you got to be able to react to shit fast. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to read up on shit. You got to be able to improvise. You got to be able to ad lib. So if somebody came in there and said, I saw it for you know, $17.99 over there, Freeman, and you selling it over here for $18.99. Well, look, I'm gonna give it to you for $17.99, but only if you buy this other product. I gotta be able so fast with the hustle, so fast with what I'm thinking, that I gotta give it to him for $17.99, as long as he buys a cupcake for $5 or a soda. You understand what I mean? Something small, so I can make up the difference. My brain gotta be able to react like that. That's what I always am worried about, what I'm fearful about myself, even at this moment. Being able to react so fast to whatever comes to me. You know what I'm saying? I gotta have those fast twitching muscles. I gotta be able to get on the ball real quick, right? That's what I'm fearful of. But that's me furthering the game, homie. I've tried and failed many businesses. You know what I'm saying? I got shit sitting on the back burner that I'm waiting for perfect timing to come in. I'm waiting for this recession to be over. I'm waiting for an opening. I'm waiting for more information to come to me so I can give it a shot. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm not worried about the business. I'm worried about me. You understand? The fear that most people have that's deep down that causes them to the complex to be frozen is because it's something in them. I'll give you a better example of me growing up, bad example, but one time I was a little kid, probably about 8, 9, and these other dudes, I grew up in a gang neighborhood, the other dudes came and pulled a gun right on the windowsill. Told us don't grow up to be, you know, the gang we grew up in. And I'm like, you know, I threw my bike at the goddamn door and ran and hid under a car. You know what I'm saying? Dude had a double barrel shotgun pointed at us and shit. So, you know what I'm saying? My other boy, he just froze, man. Looked like fucking, like when you see the little kids on the playground and someone says freeze, and all the little kids, the whole playground stopped. That's what my homie did. He completely shook, just completely stopped. You know what I'm saying? And when after we talked to him, I said, man, homie, why didn't you? He said, man, I don't know, man. I'm just kind of out of it. And I think sometimes when y'all think about this chip game, when you think about money, y'all get that frozen feeling. Like, fuck, I can't react. I can't move. I need someone to keep giving me more and more information so I can keep reacting to it. And then, but it's still, you know, Freeman won't always be on the email. Freeman won't always deliver on the podcast. So what am I going to do? And you got to identify if that's who you are, and you got to set up buffers for that. You understand what I'm saying? I might have a bad temper. I don't anymore. You know what I'm saying? I learned how to walk away. But the remedy for me having a bad temper was learn how to keep away from bitch shit at all possible times. Right? If I don't like fake people, I keep away from fake people. If I don't like people smoking weed around me, I stay away from motherfuckers smoking weed. If I don't like motherfuckers tricking around me, I keep myself away from tricking habits. You know what I'm saying? I keep myself away from it. That's me remedying the problem I personally have. Me, Daniel Freeman, in me. Not the game, not the world. Me. Right? I gotta remedy that problem. So the thing I want you to always think about is I can't solve the real core reason if you never either email it to me or try to explore it and take care of it yourself. I can never get over that hurdle with you, brother. I just can't do it. I can't be the answer. I can't keep pumping information into you. And then you know 99% of the game, but you can't stop being a coward about these chips. You know the road you on ain't gonna make it. You know that you don't want to be president of this company. You know you're gonna be heavily in debt for the rest of your life. You know you never gonna go ball like you really want to, homie. You want to be the youngest dude to ever show up. You want to sit next to Baby at the Miami Heat game in the playoffs with your YMCMB t-shirt, sweater. You know what I'm saying? You want to be there, but your ass ain't gonna get up, and I don't know why. Because you tell me you want it. You tell me you're willing to do everything to get it. You know what I'm saying? But when the shit hits the fan, homie, the shit hits the fan, and then the shit hits you in your face, homie. I'm dodging the motherfucker. I just want the cool breeze. I didn't want shit in the face, homie. So you gotta think about what is the shit that really paralyzes you in this game. What is the Fright complex? What is it deep down? What is the boogeyman fucking with your angle? Fucking with your heart? Fucking with you getting up and doing it? What is it? Because it's not information anymore, young homie. You know how to go and find it. So what is it now? You don't have enough chips in your pocket? You know how to get your money up to get to that point, right? So what is it? You know what I'm saying? The wind ain't blowing right. Your mom always getting on your nerves. You know what I'm saying? What it really comes down to is you. You haven't gotten over something that I don't know. Look, I didn't grow up with y'all, so I don't know what the hell you were scared of over in, you know what I'm saying, Raleigh, North Carolina, homie. I don't know what the fuck scared. Was it thunderstorms and shit? Or you running around the yard like a dog when the lightning strikes? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it is. I don't know what the complex that frights you, homie, that gets you so scared of chasing after this money and bettering yourself. But you better find out. Next time, partner.